Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another session of Easy Dharma for the New Normal. And this is Pastor David here, and we're going to talk about the wheel sharp weapons as from before. All right, let me see who's on. I don't see myself yet. It's loading. Give me a moment. Today I was just going to do some sharing. Actually, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to talk about today until, well, I was thinking since I am doing a retreat right now, hence I'm looking really tired and exhausted today because it's my first day. But I still have to, do my sharing here with you guys. And hi, Kelvin. Hi, welcome. You are like the first person waiting. Good evening. And so, what I thought was today I will talk a little bit about retreat. Hold on, let me put the. Okay, so about what's a retreat, why am I doing it, and different types of retreat, and just basic information before I actually go into it. Today I'm on verse 107, and before, as usual, every week I always talk a little bit about a particular topic before I go into the actual reading itself. Good evening, Mun Ting and Miao Ki, Dato Mei. I hope you're well, and to everyone else, good evening. All right, so what's a retreat? Okay, a retreat is Rinpoche has defined it as you're retreating. What are you retreating from? You're retreating away from samsara, away from normal everyday life. And what do you retreat? Now that you know what you retreat from, what do you retreat to? You're going away. Basically, you're going away. You're doing steps to go away. And what happens is during a retreat, you are actually focusing your energies into relating and identifying with your particular Buddha deity that usually is your Yidam, could be Manjushri, could be Lama Tsongkhapa, or it could be a deity like a down protector like Doji Shukden, which is what I'm doing right now. And that's basically a very simple explanation of what a retreat is. Basically, you're retreating away from your everyday life in and relating or getting closer. I can't remember verbatim, sorry. Relating with, getting closer with your Yidam. All right. So let me see who's Jacinta. Very nice. Good evening to you. So I'm just basically talking about retreat. Since I'm doing a retreat, I thought we might as well talk about it, And so basically it is retreating away from your everyday life. So you take steps. By tradition, right? Retreat is done in such a way that you become a hermit. You close off from the world completely. And it's usually done as a closed retreat, meaning completely closed off from the world. And you do not, you go into the mountains, you go into the cave, or a meditational hut. More in Tibet, more likely to be a meditational hut, as versus in India probably was more the caves. So what happened was you probably have a little house built, which is very small, for this meditational retreat. And you spend like the traditional amount of time is around 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. That is a normal standard duration of a retreat, where it's closed off. And what happens is before you enter retreat, there's a lot of preparations to be done in such a way that you prepare someone to come up to bring supplies to you. You could be cooking yourself, or it could be someone delivering it, depending on arrangement. This is how it was done in Tibet. So, and it was when it's given, you do not see anybody. So usually the meditational hut has a door, and the door has, at the bottom of the door, there is a hole where food and supplies are slid in without any contact with a person outside of the meditational retreat hut or house or whatever it is. All right. So the idea is to retreat away from the world, samsara, basically, and so that you get closer to the divine, which is your particular Buddha deity that you're trying to connect with. All right. So, and the process of a retreat is as many of you probably have a somewhat of an idea. What we do these days are very much watered down. What I'm doing is very, very much watered down compared to what it was, in a sense that mine is just not even, a full retreat like some of you come to, and do one here, three, 4 sessions a day. I'm doing just 1 session a day, and I actually do Dharma work. I come to KFR, and here I am live streaming with you guys, and so that's what I'm doing now. So it's kind of like a part-time open retreat, what I'm doing. So it's a very, very watered down, but it's very beneficial still. All right, it's highly recommended. I'm explaining this to you guys as a way of encouraging. All of you guys love the feeling of doing a retreat, but it's not just about the feeling. It's not just about the peace you feel. It's about the benefits you get from relating to your deity, relating to your practice, relating to the Dharma protector. Like for me, it's Doji Shukin right now. It's about generating the merits, and then all of us need merits, that's for sure. Whether it's requesting Doji Shukin to come to our assistance, or it's about understanding the teachings, having a deeper realization, understanding the teachings, we need merits, So that's why it's important. Okay, and I've seen some people making some comments. Just Calvin, you say you're good. Jerry, good evening. I think that's James, right? Wow, busy leh. Karen, good evening, and Bradley, very nice. Good evening to you. Today I'm doing a little short explanation about a retreat before I actually get into the wheel sharp weapons. So if you have any questions, just let me know. I was describing what a retreat is in a traditional sense, meaning it's 4 sessions a day. 4 sessions a day. Most of us, when we do full time, we will do 3 sessions. 4 sessions are a very punishing schedule. You wake up really early and you start an early morning one, and then a later morning one, and then afternoon and evening one. So 4 sessions a day is the tradition that they do. So you get very little time, but you do get some time in between sessions where you can relax. And during retreat, what happens is you are basically engaged in a meditation retreat. And in our tradition, it's mostly to do with recitations. There's some prayers, we do mantras, we recite, and we focus on the amount of mantras we recite. For example, right now I'm focusing on Doji Shukden, and the main part of my retreat is focusing on the mantra of Doji Shukden. So I keep count of the amount of mantras I'm doing every day. And today's my first day. So what I do is during the recitation of the mantra, when we recite the mantra of the deity, it is good to focus on the sound and tap into that energy. So when you recite, there is purification and there is invoking upon the energy of the deity, on the Buddha itself. So that's why you get purification. That's why you accumulate merits. You're tapping into an enlightened energy, the mind of an enlightened being. And there is visualizations that you can do that further direct this energy, okay, depending on the deity and the practice. So with Doji Shukden, it's purification. It is requesting his assistance to overcome obstacles, create favorable good conditions, for practice. So that's what you can do. And then other deities, other practices have its own, what do I call this? Visualizations, its own purpose, and its own benefits, right? So, and if you guys have any questions about the retreat, you can let me know. Why do we need to go on retreat? Because, like this, we will probably never ever do tremendous amount of Dharma work, tremendous amount of, become monks and nuns, many of us here, right? So if you're not going to generate a lot of do a lot of Dharma work, or do a lot of offerings, what happens is we find that our transformation, accumulation of merits is very minimal. Not non-existence, don't worry, you do collect merits, of course, I'm not denying that, but it's minimal. And the problem is that on our everyday life, the amount of merits we generate through our practice, the little 15-minute, 20-minute, half an hour sadhana we do, if we do any in the first place, and the offerings, the few IKEA candle lights, the few packets of biscuits, fruits, and cake that we offer to on your altar, on a regular, and on the bowls of water offerings, we probably offer on our shrine. What happens is that translates into merits. I'm not denying that, that's for sure. But the amount of merits that we generate is considered very minimal, very little, to the amount versus the amount of karma we generate on a 24-hour basis. You see, our practice is only like that most 1 hour. Anybody on hour? 1 hour is really a lot already, 1 hour of sadhana and practice. And or if you do Dharma voluntary, it's only in the weekends, or like during this session, maybe you consider listening to me, Dharma work, I don't know. If it helps you generate Dharma thoughts, definitely it's Dharma work, Dharma practice. Let's not call it work, Dharma practice, right? So the amount of merits that you generate versus, that's just, 1 hour the most? You have 24 hours a day. What about the rest of the day? What do you generate that time? If you're a bodhisattva, you generate merits. Unfortunately, I don't think any of us are bodhisattva. We don't have a motivation for all sanctioned beings. It's probably our motivation is probably our paycheck, probably our loved ones, so that they love us back, probably our family, probably our friends, probably our attachments and addictions, drinking, clubbing, shopping, sports. Some of them have more negative karma than others, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all of them are generating, does not generate any merits. In fact, it furthers, either you are directly creating negative karma, or you're doing things that not creating negative karma, but it encourages us. For example, being lazing around in front of the TV. You're not generating negative karma per se, but you are reinforcing the laziness, the lazy mind, that selfish mind. That will surface stronger in other ways. That will create negative karma. So basically, if you want to lump it all together, according to the Buddha, to Rinpoche, through Rinpoche's teachings, you're basically creating negative karma all day long. So the amount of negative karma we create every day, 23 hours and 1 hour, let's say we are very focused, and let's say on the idealistic point of view is we are very focused on our practice, we have really altruistic intentions, then we generate merits. But still, 23 doesn't, 1 hour cannot overwhelm the 23. That's the problem. That's the issue. That's why we still need to do to learn the Dharma, to find ways to transform our mind. So that one have to work extra hard. The 1 hour a day of merits. I'm very, very generous with you guys. 1 hour, most of us probably don't do 1 hour. So so what happened is 1 hour have to work extra hard. It's like someone who is like on steroids. A weak person who has to weight lift 23 kgs when they're hardly able to carry 1 kg, so they have to build up their muscles on steroids. So your merits have to be on steroids to lift up this. So that's what a retreat is. You are super steroiding, okay, for lack of a better word. How do I say this? Make it, you're trying to superstart your merits. You're trying to make it maximize, so that, because we have been going through years and years of negative karma. Everything we do is negative karma. That's what my point in saying this. So we have so much negative karma. It's either the actions that it doesn't directly create the negative karma, but reinforces the mind that creates negative karma. Most of us are in that frame of mind most of the time. Whether we harm others or not does not matter, because we operate from a selfish mind. And that's why in the Wheel of Sharp Weapons, it tells you the self-cherishing mind creates negative karma, either directly or indirectly. And most of the time it's indirectly. Well, it doesn't matter. When it's indirect, it will eventually surface. Hence, we need retreats. And that is why I'm doing a retreat. And some more, for me, as a person who delivers the Dharma to you guys, I need a lot of merits to fight my own negative karma. I'm not entertained, that's for sure. And also to reach out to you guys, and you guys individually have your own karma. So it's a lot of work in that sense. So as a person who shares Dharma, okay, that's why I usually, when Rinpoche was around, I didn't have as much time. So these days I'll usually do as much retreats as I can, probably 2 to 3 a year. And it's recommended you do at least one. Everyone in Kechara should do a retreat, at least one. If you can do more, all the power to you. And if you cannot do a full-time retreat, and it doesn't have to be a long, extended 1 week retreat. If you can, please do it. Don't say, oh, you like it, you want it, and you always thinking, or you love the feeling, but you don't have time, because you don't make the time. And if you don't, I'm sure your schedule may be tight, your commitments are there, but everybody know how to prioritize. Everybody has time, especially of late, where we usually, we're supposed to be not so, go out so much because of the MCO, but it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of prioritizing. And there's many types of retreats. What I'm doing is a part-time one session a day retreat. You can do something like that. You can speak to a pastor and find ways to, squeeze into your schedule. No problem. So it is important for all of us, because we are fighting our negative karma if we want, if you really, really want to improve in your spiritual practice, retreat is essential. Not a must, it's essential. It's essential for your Dharma practice. And if the last time you did a retreat was years and years and years ago, or even never, then it's time you think about it, planning ahead. Instead of going on a holiday, sometimes, we're not supposed to travel anyway, right? Sometimes we just squeeze in a bit of our time. Okay, holiday, this amount, and then retreat, You can do a short weekend retreat too. You can do a 1-day retreat. Yeah, you can do even a 1-day retreat. You can book KFR, a room, overnight, and do it like 1.5 day. Whatever your schedule is, fix it. And it's possible. It is for our own practice. It is for our benefit. There's only benefit. Yes, pushing our schedule is a bit difficult, but let's put it this way, that it's the best thing you've done for yourself on a karmic level for the rest of the entire year. because so far we've only been using our good karma. We hardly make good karma. Make good karma, Jared merits lah, basically. All right. So hello to everybody. I see a lot of join. I have no Sharon, Kinho, JW Liu, Bradley, and Eric. All right, so I think we shall go into the reading. I guess no questions. Okay, verse 107. All things are like images found in a mirror, and yet we imagine they are real, very real. All things are like mist or like clouds on a mountain, and yet we imagine they are stable and firm. Our foe, our insistence on ego identities, truly our own, which we wish was secure, and our butcher, the selfish concern for ourselves. Like all things, these appear to be truly existent, though they never have been truly existent at all. So this is a longer part of a verse already, where we are moving on into kind of like a prayer and an explanation kind of thing. So this part of this verse talks about appearances. This is a subject that's very deep. It talks about appearances, about perception. Appearances and a perception is the same thing, in a sense that how we see the world around us, meaning the world around us means people, the situation you're in, the items that you own, how you interact with them is your world. This is your world. And how you interact and how you regard people, objects, situation is on your perception, is based on your perception, right? How you see, how you perceive things. So in Buddhism, everything that you perceive, it's described to be like a dream. Because why? Lacking inherent existence. Because why? Everything is subject to impermanence. Everything is subject to change. Everything is subject to how we regard them, based on how important they are to us. So this is basically what it is. Because we think everything is real. Why do they say that is very real? Real here is talking about, I'm sure you are pretty aware of what is real and what is not. But I'm not, in the Dharma, when they say real and unreal, it's not referring to reality, it's referring to permanence. It was referring to how we fix our view of things. Because when we have a fixed view about something, when we see things for something that is, when we have an idea what it is, based on what we see, right? Sometimes may not be what it is. It may not be the truth. That's why there is this funny, let me see if I can remember the whole thing. It's like when you feel something that is you think it's a snake, but actually it's not, because you didn't see it properly. It turned out to be not a snake, but it's actually the tail of an elephant. Everything is perception. It is how you perceive things, because when we perceive things wrongly, when you don't have the full picture, most of the time we don't. We don't have the full picture. Then we see things wrongly. When we don't have the full picture is also because is the reason why we don't see things completely what it is also not just because we don't see everything, that we're blind. It's also because in Buddhism they say, we are blind. Yes, but what we are blind is not what it is. It's not the eyes blind, we can't see, we're touching, we're feeling things. No, it's not that blind. It is a blindness of our attachment. It's a blindness of our anger, our negative qualities. How does that affect how we perceive things? Tremendous effect. Just think, when you're angry, right? When you're angry, anything can trigger you. Just saying something you don't like, before you can finish the word, you already lashed out already. You get angry, you want to smash things. I mean, if you're a kid lah, or you are uncontrollable rage, you will see things completely in red. There's even a color for it, red. Everything is bathed in red because you're enraged. Everything is wrong, everything is not right, everything is against you, everything is out to hurt you. So you're fighting back. You're fighting like everything, but actually, in reality, they're not. Okay, let me see. Sharon says this. What you see may not be real, and what is real you may not see. Oh, that sounds familiar. That sounds like from the paranormal zone. Yeah, this is something like this. In the Dharma, it is exactly as how it is phrased. It is because our perception of things is limited. It's limited by our attachment. It's limited by our negative emotions. Especially attachment. Attachment plays a huge role in blinding us. Attachment is not just things we like, okay? Attachment can be things we don't like as well. So when we have it's a situation we don't like, we react. When people challenge you, accuse you of something, right? When we feel it's not real, we don't even think. We automatically do what? We automatically defend ourselves. We automatically say no. We justify. It's like an automatic reaction. We try to explain ourselves. That's also what it is. This is what attachment is. So basically, that is perception, and that's why they give all things are the world is not real. It's all images in a mirror. We think it's real, but it's not real. So this is what it is, because it's not real because we see things for not what it truly is. We are partially blind or totally blind by our attachments, by our negative emotions. We do it on a daily basis. It's not sometimes, not when it's extreme. We do it all the time. And the worst thing is we don't even realize we are influenced by attachment. What is wrong in our lives, we think about it, we focus, we meditate, it's due to our attachments. Okay, let's go on. Down the verse, it says, all things are like mist, similar. And then it boils down, but how all this perception and all that boils down to the self-cherishing mind, as we're just repeating in different, because you see why they keep repeating in different scenarios. It's like debate. Self-cherishing mind, intellectual, we all know, but to see it, to understand it, right, we cannot fully understand it because we are blind to it as well. We are totally blind to our self-cherishing mind. We don't think it's self-cherishing. We don't think it's bad. We don't know it exists, not much less is, that, as in this part of our mind. So what happens is, what the Buddhist masters do is they give you different perspectives of something. That's why in the monastery, when they want to perfect their understanding of a particular topic or subject, they do debate. What's a debate supposed to do? How does it help? A debate is supposed to force you refine your understanding from different perspectives, because the opponent, not you, the opponent, the other party, will shoot out questions on many angles about that topic to refute. The word is refute. Refute the point. Let's say impermanence. All phenomena is subject to impermanence. Let's say the point of debate. Everything is impermanent. Everything doesn't last. So the other opponent will say some things are permanent. For example, the stars. For example, and so you have to go back and forth, to refine that understanding from different perspective. So when you have different perspective, what happens is your understanding will become better and better and better to a point of you gain realization. Okay, that's the whole point. And that's what this text is supposed to, it goes through all the different facets of self-cherishing, self-grasping mind so that it refines understanding when you're going through it. All right? Okay, next verse. Although they appear to be concrete and real, they have never been real, anytime, anywhere. They are not things we should burden with ultimate value. We shouldn't, nor should we deny them their relative truth. As our grasping for egos and love for ourselves lack substantial foundations with true independence, how can they yield act that exists by themselves? And then how can this cruel, vicious circle of suffering, the fruit of these actions, be real from its core? Okay, let me read it again. I didn't read it properly, even I didn't sound weird. Although they appear to be concrete and real, they have never been real, anytime, anyway. They are not things we should burden with ultimate value, nor should we deny them their relative truth. As our grasping for egos and love for ourselves lack substantial foundations for true independence, how can they yield acts that exist by themselves? This part is funny. And then how can this cruel, vicious circle of suffering, the fruit of these actions, be real from its core? Okay, let's simplify this. Let's not go into word by word. It's going to confuse you guys. Okay, what this is referring to is a few things. It's referring to that part of the mind, self-cherishing mind. It says that at the moment it is very concrete, it's very real. This self-identity, this Pastor David, that needs to be protected, because the nature of a self-cherishing mind is insecurity. So you need to protect it, you need to make sure it is comfortable, you need to make sure it's reassured, you need to make sure that it's well known, it's, so that people have only good things to say. So it's highly insecure, very demanding, needs a lot of maintenance. So what happens is, it's real. All this is just different ways of reassuring something that doesn't really exist, because actually all this work is unnecessary. Because if people accuse this person, like Pastor there, this identity of being lazy, whether it's real or not, our reaction will show it. Because what I mean our reaction will show it, it means that we, instead of justifying, right? If it's not real, it's not real. There's no need to go about getting emotional or not happy, So what happens is, a lot of times we go into reaction when situations hit us. We go into reaction, and we want to justify, or we want to take steps to correct things, people's perception, correct it, or worst of all, we want to get back at the person who said it, take revenge. So, or someone who is something we would want to be, we are lacking, we are jealous. There's so many modes of operation, modus operandi, or the way it operates. This ego, this self-cherishing mind, we do it in so many different ways, but ultimately all those are unnecessary, because ultimately this part of the mind, this insecure mind, doesn't really exist. We just make it out to be, because we are doing it for lifetimes. So even I explaining you, it's a bit blurred in your mind, in a sense that you understand part of it. Part of it is like, yeah, but still, it's important. Some of you would still have doubts of what I'm saying, because you think it's so important that these things are done. Because why? It's lifetime. It's lifetimes, literally lifetime. You're fighting a lifetimes of something that is very, that's been there for a long time. So it's very natural, and you think it's natural, a natural part of our mind. Okay, so. And it says here, they are not things we should burden with ultimate value, nor should we deny them their relative truth. Okay, this sense of self, we can make it so So it's such an important thing. Okay, it's so important that we need to maintain this face, this appearance, that we are rich, that we're good looking. Some people are good looking is important, how they appear is important. So we do a lot of things to make sure it maintains. How what we do? Skincare, facials. Sorry, ladies. Botox, plastic surgery. We do sports, gym. We do, all sorts of things. I can go on the list. I mean, all these are to maintain something that cannot actually be maintained. No matter what you do, how many Botox, plastic surgeries you do, you cannot reverse age. Not yet, not with our technology. And I mean, it's quite good already, but when you overdo it, it backfires. You turn out looking like, like your whole face melted. So, I mean, I'm just making a very funny scenario here, or if we can be someone who is highly, you see, all this work, basically all this work is actually very trivial. It is to maintain something that ultimately will not last. We know it intellectually, but we still want to pursue it because our attachments are huge. Our attachment to look good is huge. Our attachment to be, perhaps we're using our appearance to gain something. Some of us use our appearance to gain favors, to gain other. I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. So we use it for a lot of things, and over time it dwindles. That's why people get unhappy. That's why they get sad, because they get into depression. They get angry sometimes because they can't maintain it anymore. How many times can you maintain your physical appearance? Even the appearance, let's say this is just a superficial appearance, a physical appearance. There's also how we look. Some of us always want to look good. No matter how much we try to make ourselves look perfect, that we are the best salesperson, the best leader, the one who knows it all, the one who come up with the best answers all the time, there's always someone who will be smarter. So one time, two times, and when someone really does come out, there's bound to be someone smarter than us. Definitely, 100%. I think I'm pretty smart, but there's a lot of people much smarter than me. Okay, like Pastor Nara, I think he's smarter than me. So whatever it is, there's always someone who would be better, who would come around and do things and make us feel insecure. And you see what I'm trying to get at? Trying to be the best of everything, trying to overcome something that cannot be overcome, and we spend a lot of time is what it says here, as in burdening ourselves with. No, these are not things that we should burden ourselves with ultimate value. All right, so although it's not directly this referring to this, it's actually referring to something higher, deeper, but I'm boring it for this. Actually, it's talking about something else, which I don't want to go into it. It's too much. Okay, let's go to the next verse. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Verse 109. Although all things thus lack inherent existence, yet just as the face of the moon can be seen in a cup of clear water reflecting its image, the various aspects of cause and effect appear in this relative world as reflections. So please, in this world of appearances only, let's always be sure that we do is of virtue, and shun all those acts which would cause us great pain. Okay, so this is a request from the Lama, the Indonesian Selimpa. I think it's Selimpa, right? Dhammarashita, sorry. Same person, I think. Yeah, he's saying that we are living in a world where nothing really truly exists. Everything we see is actually just a reflection. a reflection of something else. So it's cause and effect. Even cause and effect, he's saying that different aspects of cause and effect appear as a relative world as reflections. It's just reflection. It changes all the time. A reflection will, when the original object moves a bit, it will change to something else. So it changes all the time. Everything is, nothing lasts, and nothing always always will be the same. Everything changes, everything ages, everything will decay, everything will be not what we wish it would be. It will never remain the same. All right, so what it's trying to say, so in this world, everything changes, nothing really matters at the end of the day. Okay, except Dharma, accept being a kind person, accept something that be the best of who you can be, in a sense of being a virtuous person, or being a kind person, being a considerate person, being a spiritual person. That's even more important. Being a spiritual, you see, a kind person and a spiritual person can be kind and more and deeper and engage in practices and have a deeper perspective of life compared to just being kind. All of us can be kind. We do not need religion to be kind, but we need to be spiritual in order to effect a change for our future. We need to be spiritual in order to know how to transform our mind, because especially in Buddhism, okay, I won't say for other spiritual traditions, other religions, but in Buddhism, being spiritual, the method of being spiritual in Buddhism is to improve upon the mind, have a deeper understanding of where our issues and problems arises, and change that. In Buddhism, we're not telling you just be good. We're telling how you're going to be good, in what way you can be good, and how does spiritual practice help you to be good on a deeper level, okay? Right at the source, which is your mind. So, be a spiritual person. That's what it's saying. All right, that's the gist of this verse. Okay, let's go to 110. Let me see how many more verse. What time is it? Oh, I'm kind of early. 110. When our bodies are charred in a horrible nightmare by the world-ending flames of stellar explosion, although this ordeal is not actually happening, we nevertheless feel great terror and scream. In similar fashion, unfortunate rebirths in hells or as ghosts are not actually real, and yet we can fully experience their pain. Thus, fearing such suffering as burning alive, we must cease all these actions that yield this result. Okay, what it's trying to say here is that there are places that we can take rebirth that are scary. They are full of suffering, and yet they're not real. Why they're not real? They're not real because at the moment you're not there yet. You need to rely on your imagination. They're not real because even that situation will not last. Beings in that situation suffering will eventually change. Purify their karma and take another rebirth. So we are constantly going round and round and round. This is called samsara. Samsara is the cycle of death and rebirth. And it's not just death and rebirth. It's the pain that we experience, the causes that we create, and the results that we receive. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Whatever pleasant experiences you experience in this life or future lives will finish, will come to an end. And then when it comes to an end and we don't create the right causes, we'll come back again. We'll go down, we'll suffer again. And then the right situations arise, and then we experience something pleasant, and it will end, and it will come back and forth, back and forth. That's why it's a cyclic existence. Hence, it's also described, samsara is described as a cyclic. Okay, I think that the pronunciation is cyclic or I prefer to pronounce cyclic. So whatever it is, it goes around, So it goes back and forth because we have not overcome the cause. What's the cause? It's right in the heart. Remember the wheel of life? That huge disc that the demon clutches, that's broken onto 6 segments. All right, and then in the middle, where I forgot, it's a spindle. Yeah, and right in the middle, basically, right in the middle, there's another disc, and there's 3 animals, and the 3 animals represent the 3 psychic poisons. They're called psychic poisons not because it makes you go into a psychic attack. They're psychic because it's related to our mind. It's related to our negative emotions, and it is basically ignorance, hatred, and desire. So it's basically attachments and aversion. Things that we like, things we don't like, arises from what? Our ignorance. All right? Ignorance, what does ignorance mean? Ignorance is, on a very simple level, is not knowing. Okay, not knowing, meaning like a blind person, not seeing or not experiencing, never realizing, not realizing, don't have the knowledge because we don't see. Okay, we're not perceiving things. So it's not knowing, basically. That's on one level. On another deeper level, it's about perceiving things wrongly. In Buddhism, we see things, we perceive things as not how they truly exist. That's ignorance. As not how they truly exist. Because we always, as I said earlier, we always perceive things according to what we like, what we don't like. Yeah, basically our hatred and desire. Desire is what we like, or attachments. Basically, as our attachments. And when you have something we like, we always exaggerate how it feels to us, how we want it so much. When we don't have it, we do so much to get it. And when we have it, we worry, we want to maintain it, we try to make sure that it lasts forever and ever and ever, and of course, it never does. This is not a Cinderella story, okay? So it doesn't last forever. There's no happily ever after. This is not a fairy tale. This is reality. So whatever we have to maintain it. Whatever we don't have, we strive, we work. And the sad part about when we don't have is that sometimes we don't have the karma to receive it. So we spend our whole life chasing something that we never actually get. And it's in reality, it's not really what we really want or need. Sorry, not what we really need. But we're chasing it because why? It's what society tells you. For example, money. For that huge amount of money, for that investment, the beautiful apartment, for the dream that we have of going around the world, and we chase and chase and chase. We do business, it flops. We have a lot of competitors, that we put in so much effort. Some of us, so what we do is when we meet the Dharma, we go and pray to Doji Shuken, we go and ask for divination, we go to the fortune teller, we go do energy healing, we do this, we do that, we all this energy into chasing something that we actually don't have the karma to receive. Some of us may not have the karma, I'm sorry, this is just the truth. And so we chased because our attachment for it is so strong. That's hence it's 3 animals trapped in each other. Okay, ignorance. What's ignorance? Pig. I think it's pig. Yeah, it's a pig. Pig. In arising, the mouth comes out. I forgot which one. I think it's desire first. Desire should be a chicken. A chicken, and then a snake. Hatred is a snake. So they are each held on to each other. What it means in the circle in the middle, what it means is it reinforces each other. When we like something, there's always something else we hate. It's impossible that everything in the world we like, right? And then we have an attachment to everything. Not possible. When we have huge attachment to some things, there's always some things that we totally despise, totally hate, it creates one another. So when you have something you like and you're so happy to have it, we're so happy to think about it. There's always some things that we don't like, and we hate it, and we always, we always go back and forth in this end of the endless spectrum. And that's why there are some people. Recently I've been watching a documentaries about mental disorders. I think some people think I'm weird, but I find it fascinating. Actually, all this watching of this mental things came from Rinpoche. Sam Rinpoche used to get us to watch some things on sociopathic behavior, on psychopathic behavior, and all that, because some of the people in our society, in our society, not normal. They have sociopathic, psychopathic, or some kind of narcissistic disorder. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, let me give you an explanation, because I was talking about attachments and things we don't like, right? There are such disorders as bipolar, and where people go through huge episodes, and it's a psychological thing, meaning it's a mental thing that is it's a disorder of the mind. So there's some people who go through huge, they get what is called a manic attack. So they're extremely happy, everything. So they're extremely happy for days on end. They're like on drugs, although they're not. And then after, when that episode ends, then later on they have another bout of down, what do you call it, depression and all that. They get very down, very upset, and so they go back and forth. And that reminds me of people who have a lot of attachments. And although it's not to that level, but it must have come from somewhere. So actually, people like that is more common than we know. It's much more common. People because there are different levels. In Asia, we have less of this awareness of mental health, of these various types of disorders of the mind. So all these disorders of the mind, where it rises from a simple attachment. When we have something we like, we get so happy. And then when we keep chasing after something we like, so we reinforce that attachment. When reinforced attachment is not meaning, it doesn't mean that we get something and then we go for something bigger. It's not. It means that the exaggeration in our mind of how good it is, how beautiful it is, becomes bigger. The exaggeration, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger in our mind. So when it becomes huge in our mind, our attachments, right, we will end up with a mind like that. We'll go through bouts of happy and upset, happy and upset. And it's said in the Wheel of Sharp Weapons. Actually, I do recall some of the verses. It is said that when you go through ups and downs, I'm not remembering this verbatim. When you go through many, many times when you're of attachment and then of aversion, when you're angry, sad, happy, a lot of these ups and downs, right? It means that you have not meditated on samsara. You have not realized the truth, the nature of how things really are. So when you have realized how things really are, you will have a level of renunciation. It's not detachment, it's different. Some people like to use the word detachment. That's not a good word. That's not a Buddhist word. Renunciation is not don't want everything, renunciation is you see things how things really are. So you will not be totally happy. You're happy. It's natural for a human being to be happy. Even the Buddhas can rejoice. You are happy, but you're not overly happy. You're not happy out of attachment. You're happy out of just rejoice. Okay, there's a difference. So you want to achieve that state of mind, not an attachment type of happiness. Because happiness can be a huge form of attachment for a lot of us. All right? So, where was I? Okay, I was talking about verse 110. Okay, let me read it again. When our bodies are charred in a horrible nightmare by the world-ending flames of a stellar explosion, although this ordeal is not actually happening, we nevertheless feel great terror and scream. In similar fashion, unfortunate rebirths in hells or as ghosts are not actually real, but yet we can fully experience the pain. When thus fearing such suffering as burning alive, we must cease all these actions that yield this result. Okay, I think I get the gist of this verse. What it's trying to tell you is, at the moment you cannot perceive it. You cannot see the suffering of being in the lower realms, being an animal. You can see it with your eyes in documentaries and all, but you don't fully connect, or you cannot, or it's a totally different realm, like like in the spirit realm, like in the hell realm. You do not perceive. You wonder even it's real. So at the moment, it's just imagination. This is what it's trying to say. It's just in an imagination. But if you exercise it well, right, this imagination, you can help you to overcome your issues, overcome your attachments, overcome the actions that will bring you that kind of result. So it is good to have that kind of imagination, to exercise, to focus on it. Although at the moment it's just this verse is to help people who are skeptical. Okay, it is an imagination; it's not real. But if you focus on it, it will help guide. Excuse me. It will help guide you to transform your mind, help you become a better person, help you understand end results. Why do you want to do good actions? Why do you want to get good results? Because it brings you to a good place. Because your current actions bring you to bad. Because we don't realize this yet. We don't realize our current behavior and our current thinking will eventually bring us to a negative state. That's the point. All right. Okay, I'm going to do about one or two more, then I will conclude for the day. Two more maybe. Okay, verse 111. When our minds are delirious, burning with fever, although there is no darkness, we feel we are plummeting further and further into a black pit, with the walls pressing closer, the deeper we fall. In similar fashion, although our dark ignorance lacks self-existence, we nevertheless must by all means break out of its strangling constriction by putting the three kinds of wisdom to use. Three kinds of wisdom. Okay, there's a footnote. Let me see what the footnote is. 23. Is it 23? Oh, 21. The three kinds of wisdom can refer either to the wisdoms of acquaintance, contemplation, and meditation, or to intellectual, conceptual, and non-conceptual wisdoms. Ooh, quite deep. I might have to get back to you on that one. I need to read further on this. So the three kinds of wisdom to help you when in this situation. This one is a bit on a visual side. When our minds are delirious, burning with fever, although there is no darkness, we feel we are plummeting further and further into black. Sounds like you're being thrown into hell. With the walls pressing closer, the deeper we fall. In similar fashion, although our dark ignorance lacks self-existence, we nevertheless must by all means break out of this strangling constriction by putting the tree. Okay, let me explain a little bit why the visuals are like that. This is something Rinpoche said. Rinpoche said that when he thinks in terms of a lot of us we think in terms of words, sometimes music, sometimes pictures, sometimes memories. Rinpoche thinks in terms of visuals. Okay, especially when it comes to picking things up intuition wise. Clairvoyance lah. For Rinpoche it will be clairvoyance. For us it's intuition. For Rinpoche it will be clairvoyance. So he picked things up visually. So I suspect a lot of high lamas get that as well, that kind of visual clairvoyance. So they see things. So that's why this lama, I think, is picking up something, a kind of a visual, a kind of vision. Okay, so this vision is about a person who is descending down into hell. So the descent down into hell have symbolic meaning. So the descent down to hell is he interpret the meaning of the darkness. So the darkness is ignorance, lack of self-existence. So in order to arise out of this, all our problems arises from ignorance. Everything. And the ignorance was, I explained before, because it's not knowing, we've not known, and also not perceiving because we are blinded. Basically, we are blinded. We're blinded by attachments. We're blind. It's not that in the blindness is not cannot see. It's the blindness of being, what do you call it? Blocked by colored by our attachments. Hence, that's why all this is just symbolic meaning, okay? So ultimately the idea of this verse and the rest is actually to represent the causes that we create and how we bring ourselves to suffer, make our problems. We basically create our own problems all the time. So everything comes from the ignorance, all right? So I think, actually I will not go to the next verse. Let me read up a little bit more. So it's getting deeper now. So if you have any questions, you can post there, which I don't think so. And you can ask me about anything else, about the retreat I was talking about, or about any Dharma questions you wish. I do encourage anybody to ask questions, not necessarily related to this or any Dharma questions, that I can elaborate. And you do not have to worry if I cannot explain to you. I can always read up and come back to you, or ask people like passing around, and does not matter. So, but don't talk about it. Let's not go into please give me a discourse about emptiness. Sometimes when I ask this question to people, come out, please give me a discourse on emptiness. Let's put it this way: it is possible to give you a layman explanation. I can give you a layman explanation, but not the full discourse about it. I will need to read further about it. I have not studied enough on emptiness, but I do know a little bit, layman terms. All right. So I think we don't have any questions, or do we? No questions. Everybody is totally. Either you are asleep. Just kidding. Well, doesn't matter. So I think I will end the session here today. I'm a little tired, to be honest, since I'm doing my retreat. So I need to go back and clear the today's offerings earlier, and then tomorrow is another session. And my retreat is I started today, all the way to Saturday. All right, so it's about 5 days, and one session a day only. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Dedication. This whole program is made possible by our very, very, very special sponsors. That I have to go into a commercial break right now. Just kidding. This session will be dedicated to the sponsors. Each of them have their individual dedications. Karen Wong, Miao Ki, thank you very much. Chandra Gole, good to hear from you. You're from England. Thank you. Jeju Sencho Rinpoche, Maki Panangyu, Keba Yamami Payang, Gonen Go de Pewasho, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Mai Panangyu, Keba Yamami Payang, Gonen Go de Pewasho, Daso Chinis Abagi Wadi, Tanandro Agon Lankapana, Jeba Jozo Lawson Drapa, Tamping Purundo, Sao She, Kewa Gundu Yona Lamada, Jeremy Joking Pala Lonchochi, Sadan Langion Terachoni, Doji Changi Go Banyo Dosho, Gewadi Yuruda, Lama Sange Juni, Joachika Malupa de Salogo Basho, Juju Songaga, Josonama Pewala, Gigi Jamajiwada, and Todi Malochan, Dada Shinga Dosanda, Jewish Letany, Gawa Lozondraba, Tamparin Vagushi, Nimo Della Santala, Nemigo in Dalashin, Yasantatu Dalapel, Contrason Hilo, Contrasoing Otoso, Contrason Tashi, Jason Lama Kusura to Jin, Namkachi Jugimada, Lawson Demi, Jomin Samsongi, Drummons of Tatuni, Gandhi Rawi, Coaching of the Pendant Del Malocon, and Cherezic one tens and gasoi, Sharpie City Badu Dan, usually, Hong Tombing Odu Maluba, Denny Dalla so Godan Demelochanam, gave us sushi, shook themselves. Good night, everybody.